Hello, I'm Steven Jackson, and today, on a journey through the West, we're going to take a look at a most famous time in history. Come along with me on this journey.
Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far, far from home. Have gun, will travel, reach the card of a man.
The technology was somewhat more advanced than on the East. There were major technological advances that occurred on the West, such as weapons. People in the West began to carry weapons frequently. It was a normal thing for everyone to carry weapons. And the major weapon advancements were the Gatling gun, which was created in 1869 by Dr. Gatling. And that proved to be the world's first machine gun, and it proved to be the most efficient gun of its time, which allowed armies to move swiftly and just mow down fields of opposing threats. And when the Gatling gun was created, it was a way of utilizing the technology that was created thus far and combining it with what they know now to prove for a more efficient military weapon.
So one of the most important things about that time is the invention of the steam locomotive. UK had it in 1804. They finally got the full-scale working steam locomotive, and the Americans got it in 1830. And it was just booming until 1877, the Great Railroad Strike. Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, this is the third time they cut pays, and people wanted their wages to increase. And it lasted from July 14th to September 4th, and it worked.
The railroad was a big technological advance in the West. It led to more opportunities from people that wanted to explore the frontier, which had not been explored yet. It was a way for settlers to put down all their money, come out here and look for something different. The railroad was connected from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, and it ran 1,776 miles long.
Railroad. I do not like railroad. White man, come through our land. Destroy things. Lay down metal. Say, it will benefit you. We saw no profit. As if they did bring over medicine. And we gave them peyote.
Well, the railroads were an amazing invention in the West. I mean, it helped us greatly to send stuff back and forth through different states, and we were able to build faster and expand more because we could send steel, weapons back and forth. It was a great tool in the Old West. I remember one time we were hanging out and we came upon a railroad while we were like waiting to start a reenactment. I think we were practicing, and we found this railroad, and it reminded me, and I was telling the guys about this, like, you know, that thing where if you go to the bathroom on the railroad while there's a train around or something like that, you get electrocuted. So I took a dump on the railroad. It didn't work though. Does it work?
Technology in the West. Oh man, it was booming. 1800s was the perfect time for technology. Things were increasing, things were getting made, babies were getting made, people were just inventing. It was such a good time. I mean, you look at now, to back then, we had so many good things come from inventions.
Well, in the 1800s, they actually started building trains. They had carriages and they had horses.
Living in the West was very different from what people had known before. On the East Coast, it was very industrialized. Living in the West was a lot different than the people who were coming from the East. in the East, they'd already experienced the Industrial Revolution, what hadn't yet hit the West Coast because it wasn't discovered yet. The people who were coming experienced things they had never known before, a frontier, the last frontier.
Living in that time period was really hard. There were so many diseases like smallpox, the common cold, ex-wives, dogs, rabies, dirt. It was crazy.
People died.
People in the West died of a lot more simpler things than you would think of. The common cold was huge. They didn't have the immunities to fight it off as we do today. So many people died in infancy or giving birth. The medical advancements we have now lead us to live longer lives, in a sense, to where the people in the West didn't have the opportunity to. Back then, the huge diseases were tuberculosis, which plagues your lungs, your respiratory system. Another big one was influenza, and a big one was smallpox. Smallpox was known to wipe out the natives. A lot of the Native Americans were killed off due to the lack of antibodies or immunities to the new diseases brought to this continent. The way they combated them is mostly just staying away, you know. Crap, I messed up again. All right. There was little to no sanitation in the Old West, which caused a lot more viruses and death because of the lack of sanitation. Many people didn't wash their hands regularly. The line of work many people worked in, such as mining or farming or lots of different ways of life, their lack of sanitation proved to be a big point of death to most of the Americans in the 1800s.
Well, they had to deal with smallpox as well as the common cold. I remember Steve. He was gone for a week from a job we were doing up in Washington because he had a cold. And I kept calling him and he wouldn't answer. And then finally he texted me back and he's like, "Hey, I'm sick." And I was like, "Oh, how'd you get sick?" And he's like, "My Aunt Gertha got me sick." And I was like, "Well, you have to come to work tomorrow." And he was like, "Well, I'll be there." And he didn't show up because he was sick still.
So the West was a combination of slaves, freed slaves, runaway slaves, and it was settlers, the Europeans or the Americans that were already here just looking to settle a new land, something that hasn't been discovered yet. And while they were doing it, they ran into a lot of roadblocks, such as the Native Americans living there. And the natives didn't take too kindly to people they'd never seen before stepping on their land. So that led to the American Indian Wars, especially the conflicts with Mexico, which was the large portion of the now continental U.S., which the U.S. fought Mexico for.
The Native Americans, they are spectacular. They're running around butt naked. That's the life.
Yes. The white people come, take our land, kill our people, take our wives. They were jerks. We were leaving peacefully. But that's okay. We won on the end because back then we made it rain. And even today, we make it rain.
Natives had corn, while a lot of the settlers didn't really know how to farm yet. They learned it from the natives. And it helped build what we have today, known as farming. I remember I grew up on a farm.
The Winchester rifle, first made in 1873. It was spectacular. it was the rifle that, as they say from a famous movie, How the West Was Won. And they used it in battle, and it was spectacular. They could shoot a bird from close up. It was amazing. The best weapon there is. I mean, in that time.
Butterscotch. The Winchester rifle was very good for my people. It helped us hunt better, get better kills, get many scalps, and shoot birds from up close.
One of the major weapons used in the West was the Winchester. It was very accurate for that time, and it actually helped win a lot of battles back then. We use it a lot in our reenactments. They're really good guns. I remember one time Dan dropped his Winchester on the floor and it just went off and scared the hell out of everybody. And it made the horses take off, and we had to chase down the horses, and some people almost got trampled, but it was a memory. And so Dan got fired. Yeah. Dan. One time I almost saw Robert De Niro there. Where did you say you got your degree again?
Walmart. There was 2 for 1, and I decided, hey, might as well buy both. I need one for each armpit. It was spectacular.
Horses. They were very good for my people. They helped us with hunting, with getting places, going far distances. And they tasted really good too.
No, actually, education.
Oh, education. Oh, Grossmont College.
So there you go. You got to look at what it was like in the Old West. I'm Steven Jackson. Until next time.
Paladin, Paladin, where do you roam? Paladin, Paladin, far